filmed ourselves making... And what's going to sell better? What is going... if YouTube allowed pornographic material on YouTube, I guarantee you half of that, at least, would be pornographic. Because people would watch it. And advertise would advertise on it. And the people who did it would be making a mint. I mean, this is... Now, are these people going to be disadvantaged by what they've done? I think the answer to that question is an overwhelmingly yes. And that's what the laws are intended to prevent. What? Prevent what? From them having... being disadvantaged? No, the law is purposefully disadvantaging those kids for the rest of their life because now they got to register as sex offenders. This type of look. These people are in position of power and authority because we the people elect them. I don't know how many times I got to reinforce that. If we think that the government is too intrusive into our lives, we only have ourselves to blame for that because we elect these dummies who think that they're better than us. We elect them and re-elect them and re-elect them. And it seems like the worse the offender, the more often they get re-elected. Well, no, that's not true. Can I remind people of Marion Barry, former mayor of Washington, D.C.? Man was convicted of drug usage. He was a drug abuser. And after he got caught and he was convicted and after his sentence was over, Marion Barry came back and they elected him to the city council. Look, if you're going to constantly elect and re-elect criminals, thugs, bigots, racists, and people who just want to take away your freedom, and then you're surprised that we have all these multiple laws that are really stupid, damaging, and trap just about everybody, well, we've only got our own selves to blame. If you're wondering why is it, I mean, in my state, I got to ask the question, why the hell do we have some law that has been enacted that would cause a woman at a stoplight who uses her phone to take a picture at the stoplight of an undercover cop with the cardboard sign, the end is near, and then get a $150 ticket for? How did that even become law? Because we, the people of the state of New Hampshire, elected enough of these idiots who decided that should be a law. And they're out there protecting us from ourselves. Now look, I've asked the question. So she used her phone to take the picture of the cop. What if she had a camera? Well, the law does not specifically state that you can't use your camera while driving. You just can't use your phone that way. It has to be a hands-free phone. Because a camera is not an electronic communications device. Well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So I could just pull up next to you, whip out my 35 millimeter camera, take a picture of you, and drive on and no problems. Basically, that's how the law is written. So now you have a 17-year-old takes a picture of himself, a selfie, a nude selfie. It's on his phone. Maybe he wants to show it to his girlfriend. He sends a copy to his girlfriend and what have you. He takes a picture of himself. Then, a couple of months later, turns 18. Somebody gets a hold of his phone, reports him to the cops. The cops come to his door, bust him for being in possession of child pornography. No other pictures of naked people. None. Older, younger or older, just himself. He took the picture himself. And now he's facing a lifetime of being called a child pornographer and sex offender at the age of 18 for taking a picture of himself when he was 17. And you're probably saying, well, how did they know that he was 17, Rod? It's dated. Well, these phones date pictures for you, too. But yeah, the cops are like, okay, let me see. Hey, you're nude here, aren't you? Yeah, when'd you take that? Oh, a couple months ago. When'd you turn 18? Oh, last week. Oh, child pornography. Busted. Really? Are they really protecting that kid from himself? But why do we have this? Because we elect these jackasses. I'm sorry, it's our fault. You get the government you deserve. And all you people who constantly say, well, my candidate isn't in the primary or isn't in the running, so I'm not going to vote. You're part of the problem. I'm going to tell you. And if you're throwing your vote away because, well, I'm going to vote for this guy that has no chance. He's going to get like all of 10 votes, but I'm going to vote for him. You're also part of the problem. You third candidacy people, you're part of the problem. Plain and simple. You're why we have Obama. You're why we have all of these liberals running around and these rhinos running around thinking that they know better than us and that they're going to create these laws in order to protect ourselves from ourselves. I mean, that's about. How would you like it if you decided to take a naked selfie? You're an adult. You take a naked selfie of yourself. It's on your phone. You're not distributing it to anybody. Maybe you have it on there because you're a guy. You want to go show your girlfriend. Look, honey, I can look pretty good. Don't you think this looks good? And a cop oversees that, and he goes to his cruiser and starts ticking away on the computer to see if you broke a law. And then he finds one that you broke, and he comes back and arrests you for taking a picture of yourself. And then the excuse is, well, hey, we're just protecting you from you. Well, that's what happens. That's what's happening to these kids. And trust me, these are not going to be isolated incidents. This is going to snowball. Because the law that was intended to protect kids from those who really do exploit them in child pornography is now being put into play for a use that it was not intended. It was not intended to indict kids who take pictures of themselves and then ruin their entire adult life because of something they did before they were 18. Hell, this sheriff just said, yeah, this is probably going to put them at a disadvantage the rest of their life. That's what it's designed to do. So we're creating laws now that are designed to punish you for the rest of your life. You might as well just have a life sentence in jail and just get it over with. There's no more, well, he served his time. He's paid his debt to society. Now we should let him move on. No. Now we're designing laws and punishments that are going to punish you for the rest of your life. Doesn't matter when the crime took place. You could have been 15 years old when you took a naked selfie. And at 16, you got busted. So from the time you're 16 to the time you're 80, you're going to pay for that picture. Are you telling me that you're protecting me from me? And that's your reasoning. Hey, look, if you don't think that sex is on the minds of students and people aren't pushing it on them, here's something else. A high school teacher near Phoenix, Arizona, was suspended after administrators learned he passed around a survey to about 100 students with questions that asked about their sexual proclivities. Yes, a teacher quizzes his students on porn habits. Public school. Among the questions, the Daily Caller reported, do you watch pornographic videos? Would you go to a wife-swapping party? Now, they're kids. They're not married. Why would you ask them that kind of a question? Now, wait a minute now. Understand, this isn't a public school, and this is probably a liberal teacher. Why would you? Wife-swapping party? Why would you ask a group of high school students, 100, who aren't even married, if they would go to a wife-swapping party? I can just see it now. 16-year-old boys would be sitting back there. Yeah, man, oh yeah, my wife was down with that. Yeah, I'd do that. And another question, do you prefer ordinary sex? Well, what the hell is ordinary sex? You know what? I'm not sure I want to know, because I'm sure the next question is, what is non-ordinary sex? And I wouldn't know. I don't want to know what that is. I am going to be happily ignorant of what non-ordinary sex is. Not going down that road. Sorry. Other questions distributed among the Betty Fairfax High School students in Laveen, Arizona, were those that asked if responders had ever felt the urge to kill, or if they disliked foreigners. I got some stuff on the foreigners things. We'll get to that in the next hour. And it's not from the U.S. either. So this is going to really frost some liberals. Parents about these questionnaires predictably were unhappy. You think? One parent says, I think it was very, very, very inappropriate for my 15-year-old to get those questions. 15 years old. Now, these kids are being asked at 15 about their sexual proclivities, and a couple of states over, fellow high schoolers are being arrested for actually exercising and filming their sexual proclivities. So they're being asked about them in public high school, and that's fine. And then when they act upon them and then film them, now they're going to be arrested and put into the legal system for the entirety of their natural life. I can see where that's protecting these kids from themselves. Yeah, go ahead and feed their brains. Get them all worked up, and then as soon as they act upon those urges that you fed them and put into their heads, then you're going to run in, arrest them, throw them into the court system, where they will then be permanently barred from certain jobs for the rest of their life. And you wonder why parents, predictably parents are unhappy? No. See, you're sending your kids to these public schools in the first place, so you know what's going on in the halls and classrooms of these public schools. So why the hell are you surprised and upset when something like this happens? And it happens all over the country, and we hear about it on a weekly, daily basis. And you're upset when it happens in your school? Oh, honey, no. I'm upset with you because you're still sending your kids to these public schools, these public indoctrination centers that we call public schools. There's no way. I mean, there's even another story. Schools ask 12-year-olds if they've had sex, of all kinds of sex. I mean, what's a 12-year-old going to? Well, a 12-year-old isn't supposed to know about sex, are they? School officials sent a letter to parents advising of the teacher's suspension and calling for the survey inappropriate, highly personal, and highly offensive. Oh, really? And yet we have here on WND.com, school asked 12-year-olds if they've had sex of all kinds. A survey used across America, often without parental okay. And you're probably saying, well, no, that's not happening in my school. This survey is being asked all across America. Now, schools across America don't need Common Core or its invasive testing components to dig deep into a student's personal and family life. Now, public school systems have been awash in a culture of privacy-destroying data mining for years. And now the recent bombshell reported by massresistance.org shows that students as young as 13 or 14 are being given surveys asking their sexual orientation, how often they have sex, whether it's anal, oral, or vaginal sex, how often they carry guns or other weapons, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Or as they say in New York, on. And then we go ahead and arrest the kids for doing things that we ask them and put into their... why the hell are you still sending your kids to public schools?